Welcome to Brunch with Besties podcast.
Hey guys.
I am Sherry Renee.
And I am Chanel.
And today we have a special guest here with us. Say hi, James.
What's going on, good people? How y'all feeling? Thank you for having me on the show today.
No problem. We have James Peteet from Couple Up Card Game. The game was designed to foster communication to allow people to really get to know each other. So we thought it'd be a good idea to have James come in and tell us about this card game.
Yeah.
You know, because our mission is to heal and help others as we heal and help ourselves through purpose-driven conversation. So since James is about the conversation, we said, you know what? It's a match.
It's a match.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get him on here.
Let's get him on here.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into that, we're going to start like we always do with a toast. So Chanel, who are you toasting to today?
All right. I'm going to give my toast to everybody who has been engaging with us on our social media platforms. So be it Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can find us pretty much everywhere out in the social media land. Just continue to engage with us. It's been really great seeing you all's comments, the likes, the reposts, the shares. Let's just keep that up because it allows us to further spread our mission to heal and help others as we heal and help ourselves virtually and on our podcast platform.
Awesome. So James, who are you toasting to?
I definitely got to give a shout out to all the healthcare workers all around the world, especially with us dealing in this COVID pandemic. They haven't wavered. They stood strong, stood together, making sure we are as safe as possible and as healthy as possible. So I want to give a shout out to all the men and women in our healthcare field. I salute y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yes.
My toast goes to the beautiful women of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated from Besties. They did a bestie challenge, and as you guys know, Chanel and I sort of tried to recreate that challenge. So if you haven't seen it, go look for it on Instagram. It was great fun, and also just want to let you guys know that you can get your Black Greek letter or Perry from them as well. So check them out at Besties on Instagram.
Ooh, awesome.
So now we're going to move into our breaking bread. So Chanel, Bestie, how are we doing?
Again, I am MF and Todd still. Still tired. Just I think it's a little bit the weather. Wisconsin weather has been not so great, being that it's still technically summer. It's been really cold. It feels like fall. And I just want to go to bed. So my hope is that once we're done recording this amazingly dope podcast, because I know it's going to be great, that I'm going to go home and rest and get into bed. That's my plan.
All right, James, what's going on with you?
Same here. I was tired. I definitely realized the importance of good sleep, like nice long cat naps. I've been taking those a lot lately, you know, working in the jail, mentoring kids, which is a wonderful thing, but definitely can be a little stressful sometimes. I take that home with me sometimes. So I know I got to take time for myself to do things that I enjoy, sleep being the number one thing, and just take care of my body that way.
Mm-hmm. Right. James said, eyes tired, eyes black, eyes hungry.
Eyes important.
But so for me, I am dealing with the aftermath of all the layoffs that happened at work. A lot of people were let go, and I'm trying to find a home for all the work that has been tossed in the air. So that's where I am in my walk today on this lovely Wednesday. So now it's time for the tip. Awesome. So now it is time for tea time.
All right.
And that's why you're here, James, to spill all the tea.
Yeah. Right, tea time. Okay.
Tea time. Yep.
So first we have to start off by getting some stats. So tell our listeners how old you are. Let's start there.
Yeah. Who are you?
Okay. So I am James Peteet, 27 years old, Black man, Clifton, from Prince George's County, Maryland. My professional work, I'm a law librarian. at the Prince George's County Jail, where I basically assist inmates with their cases, not help them get out by any means, but just help them understand what's going on throughout the legal process during their time of incarceration and maybe possibly when they go to the prison. So that's what I am on the business side. Personally, I'm a track coach. I'm a mentor to the youth up in an area called District Heights, Maryland, again in Prince George's County. And I'm an entrepreneur, creator of the Couple Love card game, my first step into the business owner world. And not a whole lot more to it than that. All around pretty chill guy. Don't do a whole lot. Staying safe as possible.
Yes. Wearing your mask?
Yes. Oh,
yes.
Everywhere.
Awesome.
Everywhere. Like, I hate when I get out the car, I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot the mask. I gotta run back in the crib. Like,
yes.
Right, I know.
It's a part of our new life.
Yeah, it can be a little hectic. I have masks everywhere now. I'm like, just leave some in the car, leave some in your purse, just leave them along the way because I'm so sick of trying to remember. So tell us, so like you said, this is your first venture into the business world and you decided to make a card game. So what's behind that? Because usually when someone invents something, it's because they think that there's a need for it. So what problem were you trying to solve?
Right. So the problem is one that I had myself. So I wasn't really so comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. So let's say my girl would ask me something about money. And granted, I'm not like the biggest spender or anything, but like I kind of have a hesitancy with talking about either how much I make or what I spend it on, because I thought it was like really personal. But she's like, if we're in a relationship, we have to discuss these kind of things. So I was like, you know what? I'm a little timid about this kind of thing. I know I'm not the only one that has trouble speaking about not even just money, but like a bunch of other subjects. So I said the most lighthearted activity I could think of was a card game. It's the most easily accessible thing. Everyone has it in their house. As soon as somebody come over, they say, "What games you got?" So said, that's the first thing they say. So I said, this has got to be the only way that I could think of to make myself feel at ease, and I know it's going to help other people. And I'm going to like kind of hide the candy and the medicine and put these super important questions that we need to talk about, but kind of making a lighthearted move. So instead of me just saying, hey, so I was wondering, how do you feel about it? Because some people, they don't really go about things that way. If I put it in a card game where there's like a point system, you know, things of that nature, then it makes you feel a little more at ease about talking about those things. And they're essential for having long-lasting, healthy relationships. So that's how the card game came about. That's the problem that I try to solve.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's really interesting.
So when did you create the card game? When did it all start?
So the idea came in 2018, the end of 2018, like November, something like that. And at first, I just wanted to make it just for me and my girl. Like I wasn't think about nobody else. I'm like, I need to figure out a way to, put myself at ease. But as we was playing it, she was like, if you just make these a little more intimate, like just go a little deeper, get the concept down, just start selling it. And I'm like, ain't nobody about to buy no card game. Like we stuck with Monopoly, Cards Against Humanity, all those other little games. So ain't nobody about to buy another card game. But as I gave it to a bunch of my friends, they said the exact same thing she was saying. So I'm like, all right, we just put some time into this. I got a business coach, and I talked to a lot of the older men. I'm sorry, you said something?
No, I said, okay, that's great.
Yeah, a lot of the older guys that mentored me when I first started in the library system, I asked them for advice too, because a lot of them have like 5 businesses plus. So I'm like, give me the game, like how do you sell anything? Because I didn't do anything. I went to work, came home, like that was my life. So I had to learn how to sell from these individuals. And the idea just grew from there. Once I saw the traction it was getting, people actually told me they were learning new things about their partner and themselves, which I think is the biggest part about the game, because I wasn't even thinking about that until they were telling me, like, bro, like, what do you think about this question? I'm like, I don't even know. I didn't get to that one yet. But I didn't really think too much about it, like what I would say to this one. Like, what's my favorite way to show affection? If I had what personality trait about myself would I want to pass on to my kids? Like, just a bevy of things I thought about, but to myself, I didn't sit down and say, I would do this. I was just thinking, like, what would she say to this? What would they say to this? But it's super self-reflective at the end when you really take down and just look at all 100 plus cards that's in there.
Okay, so 100 plus cards. Yeah. And it looked like you had different categories, like maybe they're color coded. Can you kind of go over what the breadth of the deck contains?
Yeah, so the colors are red, black, green, and gold. African flag.
All right. Okay.
Everything's intentional.
Everything's intentional. And I want for the listeners that can't see James, he does have his dreads going.
And they long, child. They long and,
they long and pretty. Come on with the dreads.
Yes.
And James.
Right, he does. He got a bun going.
Okay. And James is a mighty, mighty man of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. He's my frat brother. So, yes, absolutely. All that.
So, we got red, black, green, and gold. The red cards are the complete me cards. So again, I want to see how would you know your significant other to complete their sentences. I've seen a bunch of television shows where they do that like spot on. Like, how do they do that? It's because they've been together for forever. So it's just kind of natural. They kind of turn into each other. And it's kind of weird because I think about my parents. Like they did kind of turn into each other a little later on in their relationship. I know it's very weird. Black cards are my what if cards. So they'll just give you a blank scenario. So like I said earlier, well, one, if I want to start a business, which one would I start first? I'm not giving you any options. You just have to know. My partner just has to know. So every question is about you. You're asking the question, but your partner has to guess as to what she would say. And if you get it right, you all get the points equal to what's on the bottom of the card. The green cards are favorites. So those are your basic favorite color, favorite place to go. But I got to throw in a couple harder ones, like what's your favorite way to relieve stress? Think about that. Favorite way to show affection. The one I said I struggled with it, I was like, I don't really know how I do that. Then I had to examine myself. What's your favorite type of book to read? That's something me and my girl just talked about. With even being a law librarian, I feel like I don't read enough sometimes. I'm like, hey, let's read together 30 minutes a day. Just something slight. You pick your book, I pick mine, and we just gonna do that and see, how the conversation goes like that. Okay. Then we have the scenario cards. So just like the black what if cards, except for scenario, I give you 4 options. And those I like best. I get to play around with those. Like those are the most lighthearted questions. But again, as you're playing it, I want you to ask, what am I supposed to get out of this question? What is he trying to get me to understand? Is this a finance question? Is it a loyalty question? Character building? Like, what am I getting out of this? Because each of them has something in them. So that's the layout of the cards.
Yeah. Wow. And they're great conversation starters. So yesterday, Chanel and I went on Instagram Live and we decided to demo a couple. I think we did 3 cards that we got from your Instagram page. And we was on there for a good hour talking about 3 questions.
So that was really awesome. And even today in our Facebook group, I did one of the scenario questions about the bills. So how would you, so we got a lot of feedback from that too. A lot of people were like, 50-50. Some people said they want the man to pay all of it. So
some people gave a budget template. They were like, you know what, here y'all go, use this. And we like, shouts out to you for the resources. Okay?
It was really dope to see that. And it does, it gets people to reflect on themselves. So not only am I trying to, get a better understanding for who my partner is, but thinking about how I take in these questions as well and making you kind of deeper think about yourself as a partner in that relationship.
I would also say that, a lot of times people think they want to build a life with someone, but they don't know how. You know what I mean? And so you just sort of put your assumptions on them. Like, you might just assume he's going to pay all the bills because he makes most of the money, but you never say that.
Right, exactly.
Because how would you ever say that? Oh, I expect you to pay for everything, by the way. Like, how do you ever say that?
Yeah, I'm like everything.
Right, like everything?
The guy would be
make more than
me.
But again, like we don't have the conversation and the whole, protective vibe, which of course is our role. But I don't think all the time that necessarily means he has to pay for every single little thing. Now, just to go back to the bill thing, I know when me and my girl talked about, we were like, one of the joint funds, if we get to that point, then we're just gonna be like a percentage of whatever my check is, her check is going into that. That's what we use to pay the bills. And I never tell anyone like your way is right, your way is wrong. It's whatever works for you at the end of the day. As long as y'all both agree on it, that's my whole thing. Like the assuming part never goes well. Done it 1,000,001 times. All it leads is 2 arguments. And it's like, if you had just asked me this, we could have avoided that whole 3-hour talk. We could have had dinner together, like so much. It's so crazy.
No, you was just preaching there now. You was preaching. You was on the road.
Yeah, it's just like, you end up sleeping in the other room. Now y'all don't talk for the next day. And it's like, you know what? This is what I wanted to say yesterday. It's like, well, why you ain't say that? But even on that note, I noticed I'm the person where I thought I was one to address stuff on the spot. I'm actually not. If we have a disagreement, I'll let you know, like, I disagree. I'll explain why, but I also say I may need a little more time to get my thoughts completely together. Because if I know it's just talk off the rip, I'm probably gonna say something I really don't mean, or I'm saying something just to say that I said something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the person that needs a little more time to collect my thoughts, and that's a question in the game too. Like we have an argument, how are we gonna address it?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna leave me alone for a week. We're gonna bring it up now. We're gonna table it. Like, how are we gonna do that? Because some people are just real on the spot, like, oh, nah, we're gonna fix this right here. I'm like, no, I need time.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta kind of meet each other in the middle and figure out how to make that work the best to your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I like about it is what you said is that it's not right or wrong. You just have to agree. And that's whatever good looks like to you. So the point system is just if you got it right. It's not if you got it right, meaning that you and your partner agree. The agreement is what gets you the points. It's not you have the right answer that you're telling people how to do this.
Right. So you write it down. Right. This is y'all playing. Chanel asked the question. Only she knows the answer because it's about her. So the question is, I spend most of my money on whatever. She might write education.
I'm just playing.
I'm just playing. I spend all my money on cheese.
Look,
yes,
so
I do.
She might say that. And if you say shoes, y'all don't get that point. But now I'm thinking like, why you think I spend all my money on shoes? Like, girl, you got like 20 pair. You ain't never wear. But so again, it creates that dialogue. Like, well, you ain't see me reading those 3 books last week. That's where my money goes to. So it creates a nice little back and forth. And again, it comes to the assumptions. I assume because you got all these shoes, you be buying shoes all the time. Like, no, these are old. Like, I don't even wear half these things. Like,
right.
You know, it's one of those things.
That's really cool.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, how many people? Because the whole point seems like it's for alignment, right? And and even looking at your page, you always have like advice of I forgot what you call it. Dang.
The couple of tips.
The tip of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them you were just like, look, if you got non-negotiables. And they said that there was a non-negotiable. Don't try or maybe it was an interview that you did, but you said, the biggest mistake that people make is trying to change the other person, even though they've already said who they are. Yeah. You know that this is who they are, but you still think that you can change them. So it made me wonder through this game, how many people have broken up? Like how many people really just got to know the person and was like, you know what, this ain't it.
I'm out.
And someone told me I should put a disclaimer on that. They was like, bro, someone gonna hit you on IG with the whole essay on why you shouldn't buy this game. So, to my knowledge, no one has broken up. To my knowledge. Look, don't hit me with none of that. But to your point about the non-negotiable thing, I literally had that situation probably like a month ago or something. One of my good friends from college, she was saying his girl was pregnant. I'm like, oh, congratulations on it. He's like, bro, I don't want no kids, man. I'm like, But they've been together for a minute. Like, they were together in high school, like before I even met him in college. I'm like, so what you mean? Like, I ain't never talk about kids. I mean, obviously, at least the kids. Like, that conversation never came about. He was like, I mean, I be talking about kids. Like, I be saying I don't like them, but I guess he didn't really catch the vibe or something. I'm like, hold up, bro.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
I'm like, so what's the next step? Like, does she know you don't want kids? Like, I don't really know how to tell her now. I was like, it's it. I'm like, well, I'm afraid for you.
Wow.
But again, like, that's one of those things. Apparently, she thought he was ready for the kids, so obviously they do the act.
So she like excited. She like, I'm pregnant.
But he's like, I never wanted kids. I'm like, was that ever said directly to her? Like, yo, Chanel, I really don't want kids.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
X, Y, and Z. Like, this is my reason. If you want to give a reason, that's on you. But it's like, it never happened. I'm like, now the baby's going to be here.
Right. So, now what do you do? I mean, you got 9 months, brother, to have this conversation about, how you feel.
Yeah, but think about the implications of that. So if I'm with somebody and I'm pregnant and they say they don't want kids, and then, okay, now we also don't know what do we feel about abortions.
It leads to a deeper conversation.
And now we also don't know we also don't know what we think about parenting. Do you think parenting just belongs to me because you already said you don't want them? So is this really my baby and you just here for show? And like, how does this translate? And then what does that do to my child? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's a deep and then do you have resentment towards my child? Because again, you didn't want her. Wow.
It goes on and on. Even to the parenting style. I actually had a couple hit me like that. The dude was like, he's more of and this kind of resonates with me because I think I'll be more of that parent, the kind of passive, just pull you to the side and talk to you. His girl was like, she got beat when she was a kid, so she feels like, you got to spank them in public and all that kind of stuff. He was like, he's having trouble trying to get her to see his side, and she trying to get him to see her side. I'm like, y'all just have to agree on something. Like, I'm not going to say being super passive is right all the time. being super aggressive is not right all the time. You know, certain situations call for one or the other. So y'all gotta again have that conversation and figure out which method is right in the right time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's what your card game allows people to do, to come up with their common ground of what we're going to agree to together. Because when we ask these questions in our groups, and we did it on Facebook Live with each other, and I think that's what people picked up the most, like the discussion and the ability to agree with each other about, okay, this is where we stand, or this is what we're going to do. A lot of the married couples on our Facebook group today who posted about how to pay the bills with their spouse, a lot of them use words like, this is what we discussed, or a conversation we had, or we use this resource. So that shows that, it's very important as a couple to have that conversation and to be able to communicate with each other about what we're going to do together.
Yes. This is all the we, there ain't no I.
Absolutely. No eyes.
I would also say that it's important to discuss things before they happen. And I think that's what I really like about the card game, is because when you're in the midst of it, so now the baby's here and now we don't agree on how to discipline, now we're in a whole heap of trouble, right? Because now I just want to win, right? And now you want to win. But if we would have decided it ahead of time, then now we don't even need to think about it. This is what we already laid out. It doesn't mean that we can't adjust or readjust or dial in more or even change, but at least we had agreement. And I think our game too, just by having the discussion, even if you disagree, then you can find a middle ground. You can say, okay, well then what does this look like for us? Since you don't agree with me and I don't agree with you, what can we agree on?
I agree. I'm wondering about your girlfriend. Her name is Renee?
No, Priya. She actually just walked in by the way. She's smiling.
Hey, Priya.
Hey, Priya. Okay, I'm like, just trying to figure out. Right. Girl, I have no idea. Okay,
so tried to sneak in.
Your girlfriend, how long have you all been together?
2 years and 7 months and 3 months. No, 2 years, 7 months. I don't know the days. 2 years, 7 months. So we'll figure out the days later.
Okay, awesome. And how hands-on was she in any of the card game, or was it already like set in stone by the time you all got together?
Ain't help me not one bitch, y'all. She was.
That's a lot.
No, she was honestly a big part for real. Because at one point I was kind of over the game. Remember, like I said, I didn't even think it was something to sell, and I think the scenario cards. We had 30 cards of each category. And I was like, I'm just done with it. I don't feel like doing it today. She was like, so we're not going to sleep until this is finished. So I don't know what time you plan on going to sleep, but it's up to you. So we're going to knock out these cards. So I definitely she's more of those like, get it done when it needs to be done type people. And so I've definitely adapted that motto and that way of living. She won't give me
Yes, she do.
Yeah. So she definitely helped in that aspect. And of course, even some of the content that you see, she's been a part of that in the videos, just the idea of it and how it's executed on it. So she's definitely in no small part why the game is what it is.
Okay, that is awesome. And her name is Priya? Let me get her name right.
Priya.
Okay, Priya, okay.
Awesome. Shout out to her.
Yes. Come on, Queen. Helping. Listen.
So I was wondering, like, what is the biggest mistake that you made in a relationship? Should we call her in?
Right.
No, she's already upstairs. She's gone. Honestly, my biggest mistake will probably be assuming to what I thought I heard her say as opposed to the actual words that she's saying. Especially if it's something that like triggered me. Like she said something I thought may have like attacked my pride or my man or something like that. So I'm reacting and not really listening. Like it's not really going and staying in here. It's like boom, boom, we out this way. It's like just react. So that was definitely one of the issues that I struggled with. And even to this day, like a little, I've gotten a lot better than she would agree if she was back down. But that was definitely like one of my biggest mistakes, just assuming everything. Like just feeling too much and not being logical with what was actually being said.
Okay. Wow.
That's fair.
Okay. Okay. One thing that I noticed about your game too is that it's not just for couples, right? So you said it could be with anybody that you have a relationship with.
And this is already real quick. When I noticed, remember the game was for couples, like you said. But when I do like surveys, just asking people who bought the game, emails, surveys, text messages, stuff like that, I ask, what demographics buying the game. About 70% are single Black women that buy the game. And one girl in particular, she hit me in the DM, like, I think we went to school together like a while ago. She like, hey bro, thanks for the game, loved it. All these potentials are no more. I ain't messing with none of these lame dudes. And I was like, potentials? I'm like, oh, what you using the game for again? And she was like, she's using it to weed out people. I was like, I remember I wasn't even thinking that. I was like, couples get to know about each other, learn more about each other, stuff like that. But she used it as a tool to like stop wasting time. She bring the game on first, second, third dates. I'm like, all right, we another round, let's get it. Let's see if your answers change or whatever. So I thought that was pretty neat. But more single people buy than actual couples.
That's actually what I was thinking about with it. Is like, we're gonna talk about deal breakers right away. Weed them out because we ain't got time. We ain't got time.
That was definitely my rationale when I was like, I'm gonna buy this game too. Like, let me add this to my group of games, and definitely pulling it out on the date. Like, so what do you think? Because I think playing a card game when you're in the dating stage, it allows you to get to see that person, like how they think, like how they critically think,
and on the spot.
Like, I love doing stuff like that on dates, like going to escape rooms, because I need to see you figure out stuff. Like, are you going to be able to get out? Like, can you think? Like, things like that. So I think this card game is going to be great to add to single women when we're dating as well. So that's, hey, it wasn't the intention, but it's working, child.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's working. Like I said, I get messages all the time, Facebook, whatever. It's like, your game is working. This is why. And I'm like, I love hearing those kind of stories. Like, I want everyone, if you play the game, just send me something. And I just want to the world, like, yo, the game works. It's not just something like fun. It's a learning experience. Getting cotton candy and medicine. You're not just here for entertainment. We're here for education at the same time. You're educating yourself on yourself and about your family member, friend, loved one, or whoever you end up playing the game with.
I love
that. You know what? It's so funny because last night I was telling people on the live, like, I had to take time to get to know me. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the most valuable thing that you can do, because if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you need, and you don't know what you can give. So take that time, study yourself. And a great way to do that is just working your way through those cards, so you can, be faced with some questions that you may not have necessarily been faced with if you didn't have it. I was wondering, what has been your most challenging relationship?
Most challenging one, this one. The one
hold up.
Be different. No, in a positive way. Like, she's just different because she is so not aggressive, not dominant, just very straightforward. Very straightforward. She's a Virgo, which I don't know if I've never messed with a Virgo before. But
what's your zodiac, since you're calling her
right?
Well, I can't stand Virgo. Well, I'm a Gemini.
Oh, you're a Gemini.
Okay. I've heard all the things about Gemini.
I'm like, so a Gemini is gonna call out a Virgo?
Hey,
now, I'm not a big fan of Virgos either. But I love. It's funny because I have a lot of Virgo women friends, so I think I really do like them. But like Virgo men, they have just not fit well with me.
We can do a whole episode on Virgo men.
But we ain't gonna go there. Because I'm not gonna say all of them. But it was just one.
Yeah, it really was.
It was one. Long time ago. But never mind.
Moving on.
So we're talking about your most challenging relationship, not mine.
Right. Yeah, it was challenging just because I'm getting used to someone who is very direct. Like, they say what they want, they mean it. They're not turning back again the whole non-negotiable thing. Like, this is what it is. I don't like this. Don't do this. Nice. It's like, my bad. I got you. Because I'm like very playful, something she just not with. It's like, all right, cool. I understand. She's very, not to say I'm not a logical thinker, but I kind of like scramble think a lot of times. And as I'm talking to her, she's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, she's like super straight logical, like calculation in the head type thing. So if it don't make sense, she's going to say that don't make sense. This is why. Like, my way makes sense. Like, I'm the creative. She's just a super logical person. Yeah. So like, that's why I think it works perfectly together.
Yeah.
But she definitely made me so much of a better person. Again, obviously with the card game, I've learned so much about myself. I think it's like scary. It's like, yo, I didn't know this much about myself before you came up in here. Like, what was I doing wrong before? Like, and I don't want people to think you need to get in a relationship to find yourself. Like, you should do that prior to.
Absolutely.
I just, got blessed with a partner that was able to bring some things out in me, and obviously we still made it work. And I've, helped her in areas as well. I pour into her, she pours into me, because that's what a partnership is.
Iron sharpens iron, man.
That's all it is.
That's how that
definitely preaching. How often do you all play the game together?
We haven't played it together in probably like 2 months or so. Well, since I made the new expansion pack, we haven't played it. The Who You With pack, was the one I made, of course, after the George Floyd situation, just the outrage and the rise, all that stuff that's going on. Because a lot of my friends or people I thought were friends or colleagues or whatever, their views on certain things I wasn't really vibing with. So I was like, I wonder who else in my circle or just anyone else's circle thinks these kind of ways. Like, what kind of social issues do they stand for? What kind of things do they really care about? So I put that pack out not too long ago. We haven't played it since then, though. But we definitely will, when we need just a refresher. Like, you still feel this way about certain things? Like, this still your favorite, whatever,
Yeah. So tell us about the different packs.
I was just about to ask that.
Explain the different packs for us.
Okay, so of course we just have the regular couple of card game, 120 cards, 30 cards each question. And then we have the sexual healing pack. So the sexual healing pack is just basically all sex questions. That's all anybody wants to play, especially, as the adult age. You just want to know what you going to do for you sexually. What won't you do? How do you feel about just how do you feel about sex in general? Like, is it important to you in a relationship? Because again, I hear people say like, bro, sex don't really matter to me that much for real. I'm more just like a quality time person, or some people are just like, I need it every day, 2-3 times a day. If I don't get it, that's like a non-negotiable for some people. So I'm just learning a lot of things, like how important sex really is to people. So like, I need to make some questions about this stuff. And that was easy. Like, it's a million and one sex questions everybody want to know about. Like I said, the Who You With pack is generated for this time, of course. Again, I wasn't like what I was saying from people, so I want to know, let's even about gentrification. We see that's happening left and right. Like, how do you feel on that? If that was to happen in your neighborhood, would you be the one to take the stand on it, or you just going to sell out to the people for pennies on the dollar for your home or whatever, and just let them take over, move all of us back somewhere where we don't belong? Like, this is our area. Like, don't let them take that. And just a bevy of other. I don't want to give too much away on the jump, but you can grab it at coupleofgame.com. But those are the only 2 expansion packs we have right now. We're definitely going to come out more in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really interested in the Who You With pack because I think that, like you said, in light of George Floyd and all the other killings, and I could name a million, but I think that it's one of those things that people just don't talk about. Like, people never talk about it. And it's funny because I read an article and it talked about interracial relationships. And it said, like, how are interracial relationships doing during this time? And it said, oh, they're doing just fine because they're not talking about it. Like, literally, they're in the same house. One's black, one's white. And literally, there is no conversation around what's going on around them, which means that there's a lot of issues that are not being addressed. But then when it hits home, then you're going to be forced. Right? With it. And then you're going to be like, so I married a racist? Exactly. Like, who knew? Who knew? I got 3 kids, like, what the heck?
That is so scary. And you definitely going to get a lot of people who will be very interested in that Who You With pack. I'm just thinking of a few. I know Sherry Renee would love that. Marina, who also listens, shout out to Marina. She posted something like that a while back. Like, I'm asking these type of questions. Like, what do you think about feminists, and are you a feminist, and just those type of things and those type of questions. Like, are you enraged that Breonna Taylor's killers have not been arrested? So it's just right. So those are really important questions that I think people miss. But right now, it's like, you cannot not have those type of conversations with the climate of the society we're in right now.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm gonna throw one out. One of the questions in there is, I believe this one of the complete me cards in the Who You With pack is, I believe the most oppressed or discriminated group of people is blank. I say it's black women. The most disrespected. That's what the most disrespected is. Black women. When I've been in some groups where like every group will come out, they'll say Asian men, Hispanic women. I've had some people say white women. I'm like, what? Like, where are these perspectives coming from? Like, let me see some data. Let me hear your argument.
Right.
Like, why you think that is? But I'm getting into your mind. I'm trying to figure out how you think. Like, do you not notice what's going on in the world? Like, how does that mindset make sense to you? And I'm not the most logical of all, for real. But that don't make sense to me. So those are some kind of things that I want us to, again, talk about.
Right. And you know what? It's funny that you said that, because last night I was listening to the Black Barbershop, which is another podcast on the Good News Network. And that was the question that they asked. Right. So I actually called in. I was on there for maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I think it's Black women. Right. But I'm a Black woman. you know. And one of the things, like throughout the conversation, you know, because they feel like Black men are disrespected. And then I told them, I was like, you know what, thinking about it, we were taught to disrespect Black men. You know what I mean? That's what we were taught. Listen to all the music. Like, there's a lot of male bashing music out. There's a lot of female bashing music as well. But it's just, but I agree. I think that it fosters conversation that you wouldn't, you know, have. And what happens is when you don't have a conversation, you make so many assumptions.
Yes, that's it. The assumptions.
And you know, we all know what assumptions do, child.
It's in the doghouse.
Listen.
So what do you feel like your purpose is in life?
You know, I ask myself that every day. But honestly, I think, well, I'm gonna say I know. I gotta stop saying I think. Like, I know my purpose is to educate youth. I know that, like, when I started working in the library system in 2016, I was exposed to Black boys and Black girls. When I tell you just the struggles that they go through in school, and just personally, I'm like, there's like, they come from broken homes. And I'm like, I came from a very well-established home. And I get these kids. Even though I don't come from that background, I've been around them enough to understand their plight and what they're going through. So I just want to go around just educating them on what they can do to get themselves out of that situation. Whether it be personally, you know, in a businessman or whatever they may be, I know I want to be a speaker to kids. And the next part of my journey is to create a financial literacy card game.
Okay.
Which is definitely going to be out before the end of this year, at least the prototype anyway.
Okay, listen, y'all hearing it here.
Yeah, a financial, and not just like a flashcard game. No, you know, no knocking with the hash flashcards, but I want things that are real life situations. So I want you to be able to explain when is a good time to enter the stock market, or explain to me the difference between a debit and a credit card. Explain to me business line of credit, like things that we're never going to be taught in elementary, high school. Some don't even learn in college. I didn't learn until I was 25, like anything business related besides like a bank account. I can explain that. That's really easy. I'm talking about stuff that like the big dogs know about, like the people in the 1%, like all the financial stuff they're taught, we're never taught. So again, I want to help eliminate that wealth gap, try to close that a little bit by educating our youth and make sure they understand how to apply it. Not just define what the words mean. Anyone can read and do that, but show me that you understand, like do it for me. So I'm gonna give you the knowledge. I want to see you apply it. And that's how I know it works.
I'm excited for you. Salute to you. First of all, working with the kids, we need more Black men to continue to do that and to teach one and be examples and to lead. That's really exciting. Another like financial literacy card game will be amazing. So salute to you on that.
And it's such a huge gap, and it's something that parents can do as well, right? By just understanding the game. And I know, so for me, I'm over my sorority's target, which is building economic legacy, and part of it is financial literacy. And due to the COVID, we weren't able to go hands-on, but we did send over some information. And one of them was different scenarios. It was like, you lost your job. This is how much your rent is. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, this is real life. Because people just think, you know, when you're a kid, you think money just show up. Just swipe, mom. Just swipe. You know, swipe the card.
That's my son every day. Like, just pull out your debit card. Right. Hello.
Kids don't know.
They don't know. But I'm glad that you are being a teacher. You know, that you're using your gifts and talents. So why are relationships so important to you? Like, what made you focus in so much on relationships and say, you know what, the first game is going to be about relationships?
They're important because I think they're absolutely necessary, obviously, for the well-being of the human race. Like, we have to procreate. So I don't want people to just procreate with people that are like horrible human beings. Like, they have to be good for you. It has to be a good match. And also, I love healthy Black families. Like, I really think that's something that has just been like destroyed over the past, I don't know how many decades. And I think it starts, obviously, it's financial, obviously it's, you know, character traits or whatever that people disagree on. And I think, again, we just sit down and have those conversations. We can build up that Black strong family household and then push forward like the Black unity, the Black wealth, just the uprising of us again as a people. Because right now, like, we're down, and I think we need each other more than ever at this very point right now. So that's why I think it's super important just to have the healthy relationships, be at like an all-time high. We have to work together with each other, and it's extremely hard. Like, I wish they were easy, but that's just not how life goes. Like, you're gonna have challenges. You're gonna get angry. You're gonna cry. Don't hit the walls or nothing crazy like that. But it's just a trying time, and I just want people to understand it's a process. Like nothing changes overnight.
Yeah.
Even my assuming of things, like that wasn't just she told me, hey, stop assuming stuff. It's like, all right, next day, all right, it's over. Like it's a process because I've been ingrained to do it. Like that's what I've been doing my whole life. So now I got to kind of unlearn and relearn in a sense. And get those bad habits out of it, which a lot of us don't do. We're just here with our bad habits, like you're gonna take it or leave it.
Man,
If it's a bad habit,
yeah, that's just me. No, it's not. You
right
learn this.
You right about the unlearning.
Yes, like
toxic.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned a little bit about your parents. Are your parents married, or are they together?
So they weren't married. They separate. When I graduated high school, that was 2011. But again, I grew up in I couldn't even tell. Like to be completely honest, like they did such a good job of hiding it through, and they did it for me. Like they told me later on, like they didn't want to see the relationship falling down. And later on, my mom talked about certain things that happened, and I understand it a lot more now, obviously, than I did when I was 18, 19, or whatever the case may be. But they raised me in a great household. I know what I want to look for in a woman. My father taught me how to be a man. So those are some things I didn't really have to worry about. You still grow into yourself, your own manhood, but I definitely had a great base because I had a great family structure. Older brother who's amazing as well. He does anything for me. I look up to him as well. So yeah, my family was great.
Okay, shout out to your family. That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I'd love to hear it.
I want to do a demo. Like ask me and Chanel one question. And we'll answer, and then we'll just kind of see how that goes.
One course. So this is like the number one thing because it happened. I mean, obviously it's happening right now. So if you lost your job and you had to cut back on expenses, what's the one thing you would never give up?
So I'm supposed to say what she would never give up?
Yeah. So Chanel. Yep.
Okay.
So only she knows the right answer because it's about her.
Lord, I'm trying to think of the right answer right now.
She lost her job.
Oh, wow.
What's the one she's not going to give up? That she's not giving up. Because I'm showing her priority. She's like, overall, this is the most, I'm not giving this up.
I'm going to say, well, do you know what it is first? And just don't tell me. And then maybe I'll say what it is.
You got to be honest.
Because I feel like if I say it, you're going to be like, yeah.
Right. No.
Right. That's why you got school pay.
What would I not give up, though?
What are you not giving up? I'm saying a lot of women say the nails and the toes and all that, which I noticed.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I get it up anyway. But
I would say, I feel like she's going to make sure that the house is in order because she has a son. I think that's going to be priority number one. She's going to be like, let me take care of home somehow. I will say, though, I think that it's not going to be number one, but eventually you're going to be like, I got to get my hair done. Now, you'll let the toes go. I think you'll let the nails go. I think you'll be like, I don't need to go see an MUA. I don't need to buy no new clothes. I don't need to buy any new items, but I need to get my hair done.
Yeah, that would eventually come about. But no, I definitely thought about the things that my son would need. So immediately I thought about like all his basketball trainings and stuff. Like, I mean, I'm going to have to, sell drugs or something because I'm not going to let him not do his dream. So it's like, I'm going to find a way to pay for him to continue to do everything he needs to do as far as basketball and school is concerned. So that's what hit my mind first. Like, no, you can't let JR down because he going to be like, so where's the basketball camp? So yeah, that's what I thought about. But no, the hair is true, child, because I will not get my nails and toes done, but my hair is...
I feel like you be itching to get your hair
I
done.
do.
You be like...
I came here today, like, yeah, I can't wear this hat one more day.
Like, you be like, in 12 hours, I'm going to get my hair done. In 8 hours, I'm going to get my hair done.
So that is... Bestie knows me well. Like, the hair got to be combed, because I can't comb my own hair. Somebody else got to do it. So, yeah.
Got you.
That's a good question.
Let me ask you this one. So this is one I thought about when I'm thinking about the civil rights movement and Coretta and King to be particular. If your significant other decided to become a revolutionary, would you continue to stay with them? So I think about the amount of strength that it took for Coretta. I'm sure she knew, obviously, like my husband is in grave danger. He can be shot at any point in time, even Betty Shabazz, my wife. It takes a different kind of woman to know that eventually he's going to be gone and you are left to raise these kids. I forgot how many kids they both had, but it was like maybe 2, 3, something like that.
Yeah, they both each had like 4 or 5. I think.
4 or 5. Okay, yeah. So knowing that, like you get with it, you know the kind of path that he's on, or it could even be reversed. Like there's a woman, and she's leading this path. Would you continue to stay? Is that the life that you want to probably have to raise these kids on your own, and just to be in that line of fire at all points?
That's for you, Chanel. You get to ask this. You get to answer this question about
on your behalf. Yes. I think Sherry Renee would. I think she would continue, and I think she would be more like a Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King also. And even Medgar Evers' wife, like they were very involved on their own, like in their own sense. So while their husbands were kind of on this platform doing what they did, by no means was it like they were just supporting. They were actually on their own platforms as well. And I think just being the learner that you are and the person where you like want to learn and know more, you would start to learn and know more to build your own platform. So I think you would stay, even knowing that my husband can potentially like, succumb to his activism. But I think just your heart of wanting to first help and wanting to learn and, learn more about things, you would stick around.
Yeah, I think that my number one thing has always been purpose. So if I met a guy who and that was his purpose, and he was pursuing his purpose, I would be all over it. I would be like, yes, what do you need me to do? How do we do this? I'd probably be more into it than he is.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, we doing purpose work right now.
What we doing?
So yeah, I'd be all in.
Yeah.
It would be a sad day, but I would hope that that I would, that I would just look at it eventually as a moment in time, like, just being grateful for the impact that he was able to make and the legacy that he was able to leave, and the purpose that he was able to carry out. Because what I never want to do is kill someone's purpose.
Right.
Yeah, and that's good. That's a
really
change without
good
sacrifice. Question.
Oh, that's a great question. Though. I'm like, so why my husband got to die? Right? Dang. Did you die? Your question to your girlfriend, did you die? No.
Why my husband got to die?
A lot of people said they wouldn't do it. They're like, I'm not being left raising 2 kids by myself. Like, you better change your occupation. A lot of people say, like, no, you better change your occupation. Like, I get that you want to be Black Power and all that, but like, look, I need you around. It's like, if that is his purpose or if that's her purpose, you can't neglect it. Like, that's God's orders.
Right. But what's so weird is that if my husband was like a police officer, I'd be like, nope, can't do it. Sorry. Bye.
Said, I'm out. Flipped it. That is interesting.
I don't know. And some people might think that that's a contradiction, and maybe it is. But I look at those things differently. I have different experiences with those things. So, but to your point, it's a great conversation starter, right? Like, how is it different, right?
Yep, that's the whole point.
Wow.
Sure is.
Wow.
That question came from the Who You With expansion pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So what you're saying is I need to get the Who You With expansion pack.
Got it. Everyone needs to.
Everyone.
The sex pack, all that. You need to
get all. Just get them all. Do you just have a bundle? Just a catch-all pack?
It's coming.
Oh. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. I know are we running out of time?
We came on a little later,
okay.
So I think we have maybe about 10 minutes.
Okay. Trying to wrap it up, but I saw on your Instagram that initially the couple was going to be a board game. So what made you deviate from the board game?
I did some digging. You did some digging. I thought I threw all them things away.
No, I was trying to learn, Joe.
I know. She probably did what I did. I went all the way back. I was like 132 weeks.
Right.
175 weeks ago.
Yes,
my house, I have a bunch of board games like anyone else. So I do love board games. I think for me, I just wanted something a little more portable, like something that you could stick in the pocket, even though the box ended up being a little bigger than what I wanted. But I just kind of went away from the board games. I wanted just strictly cards. I wanted less pieces to have to go around. Like, I want you to play with just the cards. Like, I didn't want the board to be a necessary piece to play. So I think that's why I just deviated from that. But that's not saying I won't come back with the board eventually if I could think of another way to integrate it and make it, give it more value to the game. But yeah, the board was, those prototype days are crazy. I was literally like drawing my own boards and giving it out to people. Like, play the game this way. Tell me what you think tomorrow. Like, it was a struggle. Just the whole card game making process, because no one helped me with it. It was literally like Googling, couldn't find nothing. All right, what do I think makes sense? And so that's kind of how I went about it. And that's why I created my own ebook. tabletop creation is how to create your own profitable card game in 5 steps. Because like when I break it down, like literally all I did was these 5 things.
Wow.
It took a little bit of work, obviously, but since I had no one else to guide me, I had to figure it out myself. But
and look at you trying to help other people.
Right, I'm like,
that's
okay,
nice.
each one teach one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But you know,
and it's
go ahead.
And it's not just, again, I don't believe in just having things strictly for entertainment. I'm really big on education. Again, hide the candy and the medicine, education and the entertainment. So I'm always willing to help someone. Not to say I'm not going to help you create a drinking game, but it's like you can make a drinking game out of anything. Like I don't really think we need more of those. I think we need more games to teach people though. So I'm definitely more than willing to help anyone that wants to create a game with showing someone how to do something, learning a skill or something like that, or even another game to help you bridge the gap to your relationship.
Right. I like the idea of it being cards because Black people, we ain't gonna play the game the way you told us to play it no way. So that way you can just bring a handful of cards and just go back and forth off one part of the deck without even rolling the dice to see which color you get. You could just be like, hey, we doing social justice today because I got some questions.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
We need to talk about.
And Black people lose pieces because we sure in our Monopoly game, I don't know where the hat is, the shoe, like we got some, don't got some. We missing all of our chance cards, so I don't know where they at. So yeah, a mess. So yeah, I'm definitely glad it's a card game. But I feel like you're in a great lane of what you've created for especially millennials, and I think this is a great time for us. And I'm sure not only millennials can use the couple of card game, but it feels very like, wow, this is dope. Like, what a time to be alive for our age bracket, to experience all of this at one time. So again, salute to you for creating this. It's definitely dope. I'm so looking forward. I got my confirmation email today or yesterday, like your cards are coming. So yay.
Yes.
I'm excited, and Sherry Renee and I are definitely gonna play them. We gonna bring it to the studio.
We might do some on the live.
Yes, we are going to playing the game, and we gonna have to get that. I didn't get the expansion pack because I didn't know about it.
I'm gonna get the expansion pack.
It's on the site, coupleofgames.com. You grab everything, and we got the sex box. So you got the game, of course. You got the sexual healing pack, and we got some cuffs. We got some blindfolds. We got like 2. So we just threw those in there for y'all.
You got a whole romantic little thing.
So I get, hey, it's quarantine. So for the people that are quarantining, you have everything you need in the box.
Everything what you need in the box.
James is helping one couple at a time to where they need to go. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, we are most definitely excited. And again, it was such an honor to talk to you. I feel like we can talk to you about you working in like the prison law library.
Yeah, that's a whole
nother topic.
Look, what you want to talk about? We got stories.
Because I'm like, how did you get into that?
Right, and we're reading the new Jim Crow right now. Shout out to Audible. But yeah, that made me think of that. And I'm like, I'm sure you have some perspective of what that that school to prison pipeline and what that looks like. And just being in the prison law library in general, which sounds really interesting. I've never met anybody who had that job. So in my mind,
that's not a thing.
Yeah, like
so you learn something new every day.
You do.
Because I'm like, so there's a law library in the prison. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, but I just never considered it to be a thing.
So. Some jails actually the inmates work in the law library. This particular to my county is me. I had me one other coworker. We don't have any inmates actually helping them. But some jails, some prisons. So you start in jail, then if you get found guilty, you go into prison.
Okay.
It's more so in the prisons that they work hand in hand. They're already doing the long-term sentence, so they gotta find something else for them to do. Jail. You're not supposed to stay in jail for 5, 6, 7 years. Right, jail is really just supposed to be the holding spot. But yeah, we could definitely talk about that.
For sure. We'll have to reach back out to you, have you on again to talk about your experiences with that. So that is awesome.
So now it's time for the to-go box. So what are we going to take away? So Chanel, I'll start with you. What goes in your to-go box?
Awesome. Definitely what goes in my to-go box is just to get an understanding to, not only in romantic relationships, but just friendships and any relationship period, just trying to find an understanding and getting to know the other person, but also doing that self-reflection that you need to do for yourself, which is, I think, is always a common thing for our podcast and what we talk about, like trying to be a better person for yourself. And I think this card game is a really great opening to allow people to do that.
Absolutely. So James, what about you? What are you taking away?
My takeaway is you never know who's watching. Whatever you believe your purpose is, go with it full forward. Don't let anyone discourage you from it. Because again, I was about to give up on the game, remember? And people told me like, this will definitely work. If you just tweak it a little bit, I know it can help people. And now, years some change later, I had people saying, yo, I learned X, Y, and Z about myself and my partner. Your game helped me. I would have never thought I was going to hear those words. I would have just thought, yeah, the game was fun. But it helped me. That brings like a different kind of feeling, like I did something of benefit to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're going to remember this feeling way down the line. So that's what I take away from it.
Man, I would agree. Those are the words that are my high. Like when people text or message us and say, your episode helped me, that's when I'm like, we don't have to do anything else.
We did it.
Mission accomplished, But so for my to-go box is really to, as we said, you have to be a student of yourself. And I know that, so I like to journal. Some people don't like to do that because it's just not their thing. The reason why I like it is because it forces you to articulate things that you wouldn't otherwise articulate. And I think that your game is also another tool that will allow you to do that. Because I think a lot of times we feel some way about something, but we never put it into words. We never have the conversation. We never work it out. So what goes in my to-go box really is your game, because I'm going to buy it. That's number one. And the link is in our show notes, so you guys can buy it as well. But then number two, it's really just to use it. You know what I mean? Don't just buy it, but use it and really allow it to grow and stretch me. So. All righty. Well, thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties podcast. Until next time, peace.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Brunch with Besties podcast. Be sure to find weekly episodes on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you stream. Also, leave your besties a 5-star rating. Watch episodes on our YouTube channel at Brunch with Besties Podcast. And listen to us live every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time by downloading the Good News Radio app on iTunes or Google Play. Connect with us on Twitter at BrunchWithBesties and on Facebook and Instagram at BrunchWithBesties Podcast. Also, to send us any business inquiries, please send us an email to brunchwithbestiespodcast@gmail.com and be sure to check out our website, brunchwbesties.com. Thanks for listening.
All right. Now we're done.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
James.
you so much, Fred. That was awesome.
And thank you for working through all of our technical difficulties.
Thank you for bearing. Yes, child.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. But no, we definitely have your information, and yeah, we can figure out how to have that conversation about your career, your 9-to-5 job. Like, that's really interesting. Because again, I've never heard anybody who worked somewhere like that. So I thought that was
that was my goal. When I got hired by the library system and I heard, so they were going to put me in this area called Largo, Maryland. And I know I overheard someone in the hallway talking about the CCC, which is the County Correctional Center. I said, can I just go to the jail? Like, I really wanted to start, because I'm a criminal justice major. I said, library's cool, but I'd rather go to the jail. And they was like, they just looked at me crazy, like, you want to go? Like, no, we got to put people in the jail. Like, you want to go? I was like, yeah. They said, well, when this lady retires, because they knew she was going to leave in like 2 years. They said, apply, and we'll see if you got it. And lo and behold, I applied. I was in that time, like, a week after I applied. Then I knew I wanted it. It's like, send me there. Like, I got to get an understanding of how this works. Why are we in here in such large numbers, but we're like 2% of the population? Like, that don't make sense.
Wow.
Oh, wow. So that's okay. So did you end up finishing with criminal justice, or did you change majors, or are you still in school?
No, I graduated. I graduated in 2015.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. It's so funny because So when I graduated, it was 2009, and I couldn't find work because of the stupid recession. And at one point, I was looking at being a librarian because I was like, so they actually make some money.
Who knew, child?
And I didn't know that they actually had degrees in being a librarian. And I was like, what? This is like a thing.
No, we talking about that degree. Oh my goodness.
But no, so basically you wanted to kind of have boots on the ground and get an understanding of what's causing us to be in here.
Right.
And
what better way to do that? Wow.
And I've already mentored young boys. So I'm like, I don't want them to be here. So what did y'all do? So I can go back and tell my youngest, like, hey, you know where I work at? This is what they're telling me. This is what they did. This is what y'all are doing. Y'all see the connection here? Like, cut it out.
Yes.
Wow. That's powerful, though, when you can say that there's somebody just like you locked up.
Listen.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's some scare straight for you.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, well, what have you seen?
Right.
What I've seen, what have I heard? Like, they'll give you the game, though. The teams will give you the game if you ask them. Like, I'll just be straight up with them. I'm like, bro, so, like, if you don't mind, you know, what are the things that I don't never ask, like, what are you in here for? I know what you're in here for. I can read you the sheet. Like, what led to this? And 9 times out of 10 is economic. 9 times out of 10, it was some kind of money issue.
Wow.
And it's just like, it's just a rabbit hole from there on.
Wow.
Whew.
So dope. So dope. Interesting. Wow. All right. Well, we definitely won't keep you again. Thank you so much. I know it's late on the East Coast.
29 o'clock, look.
Hey. Listen, right.
Well, we old on our
listen.
We in our 30s and we like,
we
30s.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show. We appreciate you. Again, thank you for bearing with our technical issues. We appreciate you.
It's all good.
And when everything is up, we are going to share all the links with you. So share it as you see fit. And yeah, I think we tagged you on our live yesterday. So we want to make sure we're giving credit to you for your content when we do share that. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, just same thing, just couple up.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have to tag on Facebook as well. But yeah, that's all I got. Got anything?
Okay. No, just, again, thank you for number one for creating it. Like I didn't just say that on air because I wanted to, shout you out, but I really do like the concept. I like, I live in learning. You know what I mean? Like that is to me, like we said on the episode yesterday, awareness is everything, perspective is everything. And you can get both of those things with this game. So I'm excited to buy it. I'm excited to use it. And we'll probably do a couple episodes, maybe talking about a couple of the questions. So yeah, but I too would be interested in having you come back on. Have you read the new Jim Crow? We haven't. We need to. So we can.
I'm listening to. I started it, but I do need to go back and finish.
Yeah, I listened to it on a recorded book, and then for some reason I kind of fell out of it.
But
I know I think that's why. I think it's long.
It's real long. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of great information. I've heard nothing but good things about the book. So it's definitely something. And then like I'm kind of in it, so I guess I can get what she's trying to say, but it's still good for me to read up on it. So I make sure I'm not assuming anything that she says.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, or if not for that episode, we'll probably just, because we've been having this ongoing discussion that we call a day of mourning, but it's really about Black Lives Matter. And we had my pastor came on. He's a former police officer. We had 2 young ladies come on whose brothers were killed by police officers. We had an elder come on who did the March on Washington. So we just sort of been continuing this conversation. We had Sweats and Suits podcast come on just to give us some perspective from a Black male perspective on what's going on in the world. So yeah, I think that, and there's somebody else I wanted to come on. It was a white couple who does not support the Black Lives Matter movement. I would love to have them come on.
Yeah. Sips water, but no, that would be a good conversation.
I met them in a podcast group when we was going back and forth. I had to give her my thoughts, and then I was like, "Well, maybe you need to come on the show, ma'am."
Absolutely.
But no, it's been a pleasure having you. Yeah. We appreciate you, working through all of our technical difficulties. I can't wait to get the game. I'm excited about it. And, as we do things with the game, we'll make sure that we tag and post and things like that as well.
Absolutely.
So. I appreciate what y'all know.
Yes, thank you, James. Tell your girlfriend we said hey.
Yeah, tell her we said hey, girl.
She probably says cheese. I know she hears it.
All All right, James, you take care.
All
All right,
right.
y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.